Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the Satisfactory Update 4 Let's Play Episode 2. And here we are at our first ever nitrogen pressurizer. I mentioned this in the last video, the first Let's Play, but I didn't actually get over here to show you guys, so here we are, showing you guys. Really, really cool. One of the new buildings in Update 4. Perhaps our only new extractor in Update 4. Absolute beautiful animations, as always, with all these buildings. Anyways, it's been busy times in the factory, guys. In fact, I have some pretty exciting stuff to show you today. So, one of those big exciting things is going to be our Plutonium Factory. Yes, yes, the plutoniums. We have, big air quotation marks there. Finished it. So it's working. It's processing uranium right now as we speak. Firing out some beautiful new plutonium fuel rods. So we're going to get right over there and check it out. So yeah, today's video, it's going to focus largely on the Plutonium Factory. I'm going to take you guys through there real quick, kind of try to explain how it's meant to work and how we put it together. I will also put extra little focus on the drones and the drone systems we have. I know there's a lot of interest in the drones. Perhaps the most interesting component of Update 4 is the drones and the drone ports. They're really, really cool. Oh, fantastic. Anyways, let's go and dive into the plutonium build real fast and start covering the drones after that. So yeah, look at this, our first truly satellite base. Wow, well, this is a little scary. Totally fine though, totally. Alrighty, so there you can see our other nitrogen drone station. And right over here, we do in fact have our Plutonium Factory. Look at all that beautiful blue glowing plutonium. So I looked at the calculator. You know, the calculator for Satisfactory. If you don't know it, I'll go ahead and throw a link for it down in the description of this video. Check it out, it's really cool. Interactive map, upload your save file, super awesome. Anyways, through that, I checked my nuclear waste storage and saw we had just about 1 million units of nuclear waste. I believe the top count was 926,000 units of nuclear waste. So tons and tons and tons of uranium nuclear waste. We are now processing that. We are processing it in speeds up to 780 per minute. But hey now, look at this. Our uranium belt is empty. There's no uranium waste. Why is that? There's you, Mr. Drone. What are you doing? He's just sitting there. What's going on? Kind of like just hovering there, eh? Oh, well, isn't that? En route. Well, what the heck happened to you, buddy? Well, this is kind of funny, guys. One of those things I absolutely did not plan for, but, would you look at that? Our drone's bugged. I don't exactly know why that is. Should I delete the drone? Huh. I think I should delete the drone. Huh. Very, very interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never heard of anything like that before. Hopefully that's not a consistent problem. If you guys have ever seen anything like that, if you have any ideas as to why that might have happened, I'd love to hear about it. Anyway, seems like deleting and replacing them has worked. So we should go just right over here. It's a quick trip. Right to them buildings there, you can see. You can see his port, it's right over there. So he'll be back in a matter of no time, and the waste will flow. Have to keep an eye on that. I've actually had, you know, quite a few drones. Well, you can see, so we've got this guy who brings in the uranium waste. We've got this guy who actually brings up the batteries. So just like our trucks, we have a battery drone, and he brings batteries to the places where we have drone ports, but no battery making. Right now, I am just making batteries over at aluminum, and probably will just keep using the battery drone to bring batteries to the places that it's needed. Over here, this is our Nuke nitrogen drone. So he handles all the nitrogen for the nuke plant. We also have another drone that does nitrogen for the aluminum. We were just at it. I'm sure you guys remember. And we have one last drone over here. And this is the guy who brings in the heat sinks. Comes from the aluminum factory, just like batteries do. So those are the drones we have operating here currently. They basically fill in all the blanks on plutonium. Now, I haven't quite gotten all the new alternate recipes, so there is perhaps some alternate recipes that'll change that. But for the most part, plutonium wants the same stuff that uranium wants for fuel rods. So you can see here, we brought all this over from the uranium setup. Silica, steel beams, concrete. We've got sulfuric acid, electromagnetic control rods. And then this belt is actually gonna be for the uranium waste. I just have not activated it yet. And then that, with the nitrogen gas and the heat sinks, is actually everything. That's all you need to make the plutonium fuel rod. So it's not too bad, not too bad at all. I designed this whole thing to consume a Mark V belt's worth of uranium waste. Look at that, here it is. So, by the default recipes, I calculated that each one of these particle accelerators will use 200 uranium waste per minute. 50 in actual uranium waste, and then 100 per minute of non-fissile uranium, which we can see over here is equivalent to exactly 150 uranium waste per minute. Simple math, right? So that makes each one of these particle accelerators consume 200 uranium waste a minute. So for me, the easiest math to do was 800. So we're technically a little bit over the Mark V belt speed limit there. But me, personally, I'm not a stickler for the exact numbers. I find, even when I do build for the exact numbers, something goes wrong anyways, so close enough. These are the first 4 particle accelerators we've got working. In fact, they're working right now. Absolute beautiful machines. Again, a new building in Update 4, and perhaps the only new processing building we have. That's actually not true, the blender. But the particle accelerator is by far, personally for me, my favorite. It is so cool. It's like geothermal power in that it has this varying usage. And maybe varying's the wrong word. It's more like a gradual building. I've noticed it's consistent. So the further you get through the construct, the longer it's been on, the more energy it consumes till the completion where it hits the top and then it goes all the way back down. So these particle accelerators, they use varying amounts of power that builds up over time. And then when the particle accelerator is off, like when it's not actually producing, I imagine it doesn't use any power, right? I imagine so, but I gotta say, I haven't tested it. That's how all the other buildings work, so I don't think this would be any different. Anyways, we built this whole factory around the particle accelerators. So the particle accelerators are handling that 800. I like to think of it more like 780 because that's really a closer number with the belt limitations and such. So technically this will never run 100% efficiently because technically we can't provide the amount of waste needed. It needs the 800, right? And we're only providing up to 780. But we built the rest of this kind of pretending like these 4 are going to run at 100% efficiency, right? So each one of these produces 30 pellets. Each one of these guys consumes 10. So we have 12 assemblers, the encased plutonium cell. And then all of these guys are using 7.5. So the closest break even was 16 manufacturers. So you'll notice we have like way more fuel rod manufacturers than anything else. It's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous. But it all mathed out really, really nice, right? So I believe this is no alternate recipes. 16 plutonium fuel rod manufacturers, 12 of the encased plutonium fuel cell assemblers, 4 particle accelerators to make the plutonium pellets. We have this backed with, I believe, 8 blenders that produce the non-fissile uranium, as well as some byproduct water. 2 blenders producing nitric acid, which actually consume the byproduct water perfectly. And yeah, check this poor little guy out. We got one lonely little iron sheet constructor, which I guess leads me to point out here, in addition to our main pull of resources, we do also pull in some iron ingots, because you need them for the iron sheets for the nitric acid, which is super funny. So one of the super duper cool things about this system, it's a bit wild, and I've been struggling with it as well. But again, maybe this is not the most fair time yet to evaluate, just because the system did have a bit of a lull, and it's only just now been turning back on. But we use 100% recycled water. So there is the water input, and you'll notice it's not attached. Wants 60 water. We've got 2 of them, so that's 120 water. Each one of these non-fissile uranium blenders puts out 15 water as a byproduct. We have 8 of these blenders. So, by my calculations, we don't need to actually produce any water. This is 100% recycled water system, just like our gas containers over there. So that's pretty cool too. I have set up a valve just over there to attempt to prevent backflow from happening. And yeah, so far the system seems to be running lovely. Just trying to make sure we don't run short on anything outside of the waste. If there's one thing to run short in this factory, it will be the waste. In fact, we do have a fixed amount of waste. That 900,000, I piled that up all in the update 3 days, and it will eventually run out. We will not produce 780 uranium waste a minute until we have 39 nuclear reactors running, burning uranium fuel rods. Right now, I've only got 16 built, and I think of those 16, only 7 are actually running. So this design should hold for a really long time. We should be able to take care of all of our uranium waste and then some. Quite a long while. At the moment, we are using that drone to bring the waste over. Now, as I said, that is going to run out eventually. Soon that stockpile will be no more. At which point we are going to get rid of the nuclear waste drone, both here and there. Once we do that, all the uranium waste will start traveling along this belt and straight into the system, just the same as it is now. And this train, which is right now taking the uranium waste, is going to take the plutonium waste instead, because yes, that's right, guys. I'm gonna burn these plutonium fuel rods. That's my plan. I've had this nuclear setup well before this update came out. I was always okay with storing the waste, so we are going to continue to go down that route. It is worth noting, however, you can in fact sink these fuel rods. If you don't burn them, you can sink them, and that will effectively give you 100% waste-free nuclear power. Now, it does come at a bit of a price, because you have to produce it. You have to transform it into this form to sink it. And that takes a lot of power. Takes a lot of power. This whole factory running ups our power usage at least 4 or 5 gigs. It's 5,000 megawatts. So one advantage from burning the plutonium fuel rods, I'll get some of that power back. I'll get some of that power back by burning them. But then I am going to end up with the tier 2 waste, the plutonium waste, and that is undestroyable. I think I'll be able to hold it. So it'll go into this system just as the uranium is now. And we'll store it. And then the uranium that we produce will go on over there. So this kind of brings us to what we're doing with the fuel rods now. So basically I have here our big old fuel rod storage. You can see we got a lot of plutonium fuel rods in there. And we do have a lot of uranium fuel rods in there too. So we have in fact cut and stopped our uranium production. So basically what I did was I just turned off the uranium miner. The thought process behind this is we have a lot of plutonium to burn. A lot of plutonium to burn. So I'm gonna stop producing uranium fuel so this will kind of expire and we'll be able to start burning that plutonium. Now, as we start burning that plutonium, we're actually gonna stop producing it too, right? So once we start burning the plutonium, then the Plutonium Factory is no longer gonna get uranium waste. So it won't produce any more plutonium fuel rods. That is gonna be the tipping point where I turn this back on. And so my thought is right now, we'll kind of just keep running the balance here and kind of do a 50-50 system where we burn some plutonium and some uranium and kind of just switch when one or the other runs out. Basically, we can fill up, we can keep producing fuel rods until this storage system's about to fill up. And then we can just stop producing and let it burn out. I could design a system, especially with the new power. You know, an update 4 power runs at 100% all the time, whether it's being used or not. So theoretically, I could calculate how much fuel rods we're producing, calculate how much the reactors consume, and design a perfectly balanced system. There would be no reason to not do that. Other than the fact, without sinking the plutonium fuel rods, I'll be making excessive amounts of nuclear waste. So, lots of options. Each set coming with its own up and downs. I don't know exactly where I'm gonna lean towards. Right now, I'm leaning towards the sort of, you know, managing it by hand, so to speak. Burning the plutonium fuel rods and trying to be smart about how much waste we produce. But if that proves to be too tedious of a task long term, then I may switch to mathing out a proper ratio and just sinking the plutonium fuel rods. Be easy as just throwing them into a sink. And then once you do that, honestly, what I'd probably do is set up the 39 reactors, turn them all on. They would set the Plutonium Factory to run. And we'd be producing like overkill amounts of power, but seeing as we wouldn't be producing any waste and uranium mining is unlimited, there's no real downside to any of that. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. All in all, the Plutonium Factory, amazing. Whether you decide to burn the fuel or just simply sink it, it is so good. Absolutely worth checking out. And I really hope it makes a lot more people consider using nuclear. in Update 3, in Update 2, when nuclear was first a thing, I was super excited about it, and I built it right in Update 2. And I built it again in Update 3. But through my time of playing and streaming and talking with people, I noticed there's a lot of people that avoided nuclear because of the waste. So I'm really happy Coffee Stain added this ability, and I think it will hopefully convince you guys to do nuclear stuff. It requires a lot. It's a lot of setup. It's a lot of backbone, you know, compared to like any of the other powers. You need some serious factories to get it going, and you need to be, you know, having the unlocks for it and stuff, obviously. But yeah, it's really nice. Nothing like making 2.5 gigawatts per reactor, you know. Those 7 reactors, they effectively power our whole entire factory. So if you ask me, I'd rather power on, you know, 7 reactors than 700 fuel generators any day. Those batteries too, if you guys didn't watch the first episode, the batteries, man, you gotta check that out. It's the only reason our power really runs right now. Check that out. We've been running at like 100% capacity for a really long time now. It actually seems to be just about the perfect balance. We were actually technically making just a little bit more power than we need. Only just a little bit. I only know this because our battery usually sits at 100%. Sometimes during a peak, it'll go down a bit, but it always recharges. So that says to me, we're actually still making more power than we need. But in the previous update 4 days, this would be absolute power down. Absolute power down, man. Okay, cool. But yeah, hopefully I covered that all right. Again, guys, you know, if you feel like there's anything I sort of missed, anything you'd like to see a little bit closer, you know, any thoughts you have, always feel free to share them down below in the comments. Love hearing from you guys on all that stuff. And yeah, let's take a quick little boop over to the aluminum setup. I'll show you guys the other half of our drone system. So I know that's been a big one too. All right, well, check it out. So this is the other end to the drone that you guys saw at the very beginning of the video. Our first nitrogen gas drone. So it works just basically the exact same as the other. Packagers and unpackagers, the bottles and such. In fact, you can see we've got our sort of temp bottle storage there. I need to come up with a better temporary bottle system. That's on the old list of things to do. You can see here we have a heavy mod frame drone. The other half of him being over at the main base there. He's doing his thing. We got our heat sink drone. Yep, you can see the heat sinks going right in there. And then, of course, the battery drone. You can never have enough batteries. Yeah, I might have to actually look at battery production. So here's my quick little bit on drones, guys. Honestly, they've been beautiful. Love them. They are super intelligent and awesome. The only problem I've really encountered with them is, like you guys saw at the beginning of the video, that frozen drone. Like, what's up with that? No idea. Riding them is a death sentence. That's more of a me problem than a drone problem, though, I guess. And yeah, so there's a couple of confusing things with them. I'll try to explain that for you guys here real quick if you want to know any of that. So a drone port can only have one drone assigned to it, right? The station already has a drone assigned to it. So you can only place one drone on one station. And a drone must be connected between 2 stations to actually move. So you can actually place one drone on each station. So you can have 2 drones flying back and forth between the two stations, effectively doubling your transport, which is really cool. I have heard people talk about adding more than that. I tested it out a little bit, and I couldn't find a way to really get there. The only thing I can imagine is maybe if you, like, build a drone port, build a drone, send it to another port, and then delete its origin port. I mean, maybe you can do that, but that would be kind of like a bug, if you ask me. Kind of like a bug, honestly. I'm not sure that's actually an intended usage of drones. But now, if that does work, you could effectively have drones go to anywhere you want. Yeah, so this is another cool one too. So you'll notice once you get a certain amount of ports, you can't find them. It seems obvious now, but it took me forever to figure out. You gotta narrow down your selection by typing in the filter box. So once you get enough drone ports, start, you know. Start typing in that filter box. Okay, now I think this guy's gonna need batteries. Just gonna see. Yeah, you know, honestly, guys, I think this is gonna work. Watch it crash my game. It's dark. Yeah, you know what? Wait a second. Oh no, look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Now, wait a second. Because I didn't wait long enough or what? Here, let me try that again. So deleting the drone port seems to have deleted the drone as well. But now, was that because I didn't wait for long enough, or what? He did consume the batteries. The batteries are gone. We're just sending them to this port right here. I think they might have thought of this, guys, so. Drone ports must be paired. I don't think you can have a drone do any more than one station to the other, so no, it's not like trains, you know, you can't send a drone through a series of 3 stations. And then I think it's just 1 drone per end, so I think the drones are pretty fixed in that regard. Now, I'm not 100% sure, and it is possible that they'll change the drones. But now it may be the idea, so I mean, not sure exactly why somebody would want to do this, but I guess you could just point like 8 drone stations to 1 drone station and do it like that. Yeah, okay, so there you go. That's a pretty definitive rule then. Give me my 5 batteries back? Whoopee. Okay, so drone ports can take 1 drone each, and that drone is tied to that drone port, so you cannot place another drone on that drone port. And if you delete that drone port, it will also delete the drone attached to it. You can only point 1 drone port at 1 other drone port. However, you could point multiple drone ports to 1 drone port. So if I had this drone port pointed to this drone port, and this one pointed back at the original one, we could have 2 drones, 1 per port, going back and forth between the 2. That's basically how I have all of my drones set up now. These drones can handle up to 2 different items, since they are separated in 2 different inventories, one incoming, one outgoing. So you can't bring in 2 incoming item types without them sharing an inventory, and vice versa for outgoing. But you can do 2 different item types, you know, in the context of this, like what I'm doing here with the packaged nitrogen gas. So that's really cool. And then just now, I've sort of thought you can point, like, this drone port to that drone port. You could point these 2 drone ports to that 1 drone port. You could even point these 3 drone ports to that 1 drone port. And you could keep doing that. And so within each one of these drone ports, you just have to set the receive and the destination. So all these drones could go there and back, there and back, there and back, there and back. Now for this station, he can have 1 drone. And he could have that drone go to either one of these stations. You can only choose one. Or a station that's all new and unique to itself. Or you could just even have no drone there and just have drones come to it. So that actually, you know, allows for a lot of cool things. Off the top of my head, it's kind of neat, you know, if you have some, like, item like I have, for instance. You know, I have motors being made all the way over here, and they get trucked down to a truck station here and then made into turbo motors. And I also have motors being made over here, and again, they get trucked all the way up to there. So what I could do now is I could just have 1 drone station here, and then have a drone bring motors down from the top, and have a drone bring motors up from the bottom, and just convene in 1 central location. So that's a pretty cool functionality, actually. Drones have all kinds of cool stats in their stations, how long it takes them to do a round trip, how many batteries they use per minute, how many batteries they use per trip, how much power the building uses. So I think the amount of batteries per trip is always the same. I think I saw somewhere once somebody mention that with extremely long trips, I don't know where you draw that line, but look at the length on this guy. I think that's mostly because he only transports every so often. Apparently I can go higher than that. I don't think it goes any lower than that, so that's kind of the minimum. So the longer the trip is, the better battery usage you're getting, right? So a really, really short trip, you're going to chew through batteries really fast. A really long trip, and you're going to get a better use out of those batteries. The amount of batteries doesn't change as far as I've seen. So for that reason, drones are becoming more and more efficient the further they travel. Unfortunately, just like trains, drones have no options to wait until empty or full. Honestly, that would be a super cool functionality. I don't know if that's something we can expect. Anyways, yes, I think that about covers it for this week. So I hope that was some interesting stuff for you guys. Hope there was some good information in there too. Expect next week to be seeing hopefully some construction on the space elevator factory. Now that's gonna be a really big build. So I'm not sure exactly how long it's gonna take until we make any real progress on that, but We'll be working on it furiously, guys. Come and watch the streams if you want to see the initial planning of that. And, yes, again, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you enjoyed the video below. If there's anything more you want to see from this factory. And, keep it efficient, guys. Cost-effective and non-lethal. Thanks for watching.